Welcome to Pulse of Awareness, where we explore the profound questions that shape our existence and unlock the wisdom hidden in philosophical truths. Today, we journey into one of the most challenging and liberating ideas ever conceived: Sartre's declaration that you are condemned to be free. Stay with us until the end, because this understanding might forever change how you see yourself and your choices. First, understanding the paradox of condemned freedom. When Sartre said we are condemned to be free, he revealed a truth most people spend their lives trying to avoid. Freedom isn't the gift we imagine it to be. It's an inescapable sentence we must serve every moment we exist. From the instant you wake until you sleep, you are making choices, and each choice defines who you are becoming. You cannot choose not to choose, because even refusing to decide is itself a decision with consequences you must bear. This condemnation means there is no escape into fate, no hiding behind destiny, no ultimate authority to blame for your life. The universe doesn't care what you become, and no cosmic plan guides your steps toward a predetermined purpose. Most people find this terrifying because it strips away the comfortable illusions that protect us from our own power. We want to believe something outside ourselves determines our path, that we're following a script already written. But Sartre insists you are radically free, meaning you create yourself through every action you take or refuse. This freedom isn't limited to big decisions. It permeates every interaction, every thought, every moment of your existence. The paradox is that this ultimate freedom feels like imprisonment because it comes with total, inescapable responsibility. You cannot throw off the burden of being free, cannot delegate your choices to others, cannot escape into comfortable determinism. Understanding this paradox is the first step toward living authentically, toward owning your life rather than drifting through it. When you grasp that freedom is your condition, not your achievement, everything about your self-perception must transform. This isn't philosophical abstraction, it's the concrete reality of your daily existence, demanding acknowledgement every moment. The question becomes, will you embrace this condemned freedom, or spend your life pretending you never had a choice? Second, the weight of radical responsibility. Radical responsibility means accepting that you alone are the author of your life's narrative, regardless of circumstances. Every excuse you make, every blame you assign, every victim story you tell, these are all choices you're making now. Sartre argued that even in situations of extreme constraint, you remain free to choose your attitude and response. A prisoner still chooses whether to resist or collaborate, to maintain dignity or surrender it to despair. This doesn't mean circumstances don't matter. It means your response to circumstances is where your freedom and responsibility reside. You cannot control what happens to you, but you absolutely control what you make of what happens to you. Most people resist this truth because accepting it means giving up their most cherished defense mechanisms and victim narratives. It's comfortable to believe that your unhappiness is caused by your childhood, your relationships, your lack of opportunities. But radical responsibility demands you ask, what am I choosing right now, and what am I making of my situation? Your past influences you only to the extent that you allow it to define your present choices and future possibilities. When you blame your parents, your culture, or your circumstances, you're exercising your freedom to avoid responsibility. This avoidance is itself a choice, one that keeps you powerless while pretending to explain your powerlessness. The ancient Stoics understood this truth. Between stimulus and response lies your freedom, the space where you choose who you are. Viktor Frankl discovered it in concentration camps, that even in hell, humans retain the freedom to choose their inner attitude. Accepting radical responsibility isn't about self-blame or guilt. It's about reclaiming your power from the stories that imprison you. It means recognizing that you are always choosing, always creating yourself, always responsible for who you are becoming. This weight can feel crushing until you realize it's also the source of your greatest power and potential. The moment you stop waiting for circumstances to change and start choosing differently is the moment transformation begins. Third, anxiety as the price of authentic choice. Sartre identified anxiety as the emotional signature of confronting your freedom without the comfort of predetermined essence. Unlike fear of specific threats, existential anxiety arises from recognizing that nothing dictates what you must become. This anxiety emerges when you stand at a decision point and realize no authority can tell you the right choice. You must choose, and the choice will define you. Yet nothing in the universe validates one path over another. Most people experience this anxiety when facing major life decisions, career changes, relationships, relocating, fundamental value questions. The anxiety doesn't come from external danger, but from the dizzying realization that you could choose anything, become anyone. Consider standing at a cliff's edge. Fear says you might fall. Anxiety whispers that you could jump, that nothing stops you. This anxiety reveals your radical freedom, the terrifying truth that your own will is the only barrier between you and action. We spend enormous energy trying to escape this anxiety through routines, conformity, following others' expectations without question. We adopt ready-made identities, prescribed roles, conventional paths, anything to avoid the vertigo of authentic choosing. But Kierkegaard taught that anxiety is the price of possibility, the feeling that accompanies genuine openness to becoming. Without anxiety, you're not truly free. You're just following programs, executing scripts, living someone else's predetermined life. The anxiety you feel when contemplating major change isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's proof you're genuinely choosing. Authentic decisions always involve anxiety because they require you to abandon false securities and step into undefined possibility. Learning to tolerate this anxiety, to choose despite it rather than because you've eliminated it, marks existential maturity. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety, but to recognize it as the companion of freedom, the signal of authentic choice. When you stop trying to find certainty before acting and instead choose while accepting uncertainty, you embrace existential courage. This courage doesn't mean fearlessness. It means acting from freedom, despite the anxiety that freedom necessarily produces. Fourth, bad faith and the escape from freedom. Bad faith is Sartre's term for the ways we deceive ourselves about our freedom to avoid responsibility for our choices. It's the sophisticated self-deception that lets us pretend we're not choosing while we continue to choose our pretense. The classic example is the waiter who so thoroughly identifies with his role that he forgets he's playing it. His exaggerated movements, scripted politeness, and mechanical behavior allow him to escape into a fixed identity. We all engage in bad faith when we say, "I had no choice," or "that's just who I am," or "my circumstances made me do it." These phrases are lies we tell ourselves to escape the terrifying freedom of acknowledging we're choosing our identity constantly. Bad faith appears when someone stays in a destructive relationship, claiming they can't leave because of children, money, or social pressure. The truth is, they're choosing to stay, and they could choose otherwise. But admitting this would mean accepting responsibility. It manifests when you claim your anger is caused by others, as if their actions mechanically produce your emotional responses. But your anger is your choice, your interpretation, your response. Recognizing this returns power, but also demands ownership. People live in bad faith when they identify completely with their profession, nationality, gender roles, or any external definition. These identifications allow them to say, "I must act this way because I am this thing," denying the freedom that precedes all identity. The student who says, "I can't help being lazy, I've always been this way," is choosing bad faith over authentic self-creation. They're treating themselves as a fixed object with determined properties, rather than a free being who chooses laziness each moment. Bad faith is seductive because it offers relief from the anxiety of freedom while maintaining the illusion of self-knowledge. You get to feel like you know who you are while avoiding the responsibility of creating who you become. Recognizing bad faith in yourself requires brutal honesty about the ways you hide from your own freedom behind roles and excuses. Every time you say, "I have to," ask yourself, is this truly necessity, or am I choosing while pretending I'm not? The path to authenticity begins with catching yourself in acts of bad faith and choosing to acknowledge the choice you're making. This doesn't mean every choice becomes easy, but it does mean you stop lying to yourself about having chosen. Fifth, creating meaning in a world without predetermined purpose. If you are condemned to be free, then there is no essential purpose written into your existence before you create it. The universe doesn't provide meaning. You must generate it through your choices, commitments, and the projects you undertake. This realization can feel like falling into an abyss. If nothing matters objectively, why should anything matter subjectively? But Sartre's answer is revolutionary. Precisely because nothing matters inherently, your choices about what matters become supremely important. You don't discover meaning the way you discover facts. You create it through passionate commitment to projects you choose freely. The meaning of your life isn't found in ancient texts, cosmic plans, or external authorities. It's forged through authentic action. Camus faced this same truth with his myth of Sisyphus, condemned to roll a boulder uphill eternally, only to watch it roll back down. Yet Camus insisted we must imagine Sisyphus happy because he owns his task, finds meaning in the struggle itself, not the outcome. Your freedom to create meaning is both gift and burden. No one can tell you what should matter, yet you cannot avoid choosing. Every day you live is a statement about what you value, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you choose consciously or drift. Many people seek meaning by conforming to inherited values, adopted ideologies, or popular purposes they never genuinely chose. But borrowed meaning is ultimately hollow because it's not born from your authentic freedom, but from fear of exercising it. The entrepreneur who builds a business, the artist who creates beauty, the parent who nurtures growth. These are acts of meaning creation, not because these roles have inherent meaning, but because someone freely chose to invest them with significance through commitment. Your relationships matter because you choose to make them matter, investing time, vulnerability, care, and presence in another person. The moment you stop choosing the relationship, stop investing meaning in it. It begins to die regardless of circumstances. This approach to meaning is empowering. You're not searching for a purpose that exists independently, waiting to be discovered. You're creating purpose through your commitments, and you can always choose to create new meaning when old purposes no longer serve. The freedom to create meaning also means you can survive the loss of meaning because you know you can generate it again. When depression says nothing matters, the existential response is, nothing matters inherently, but I can choose what matters now. Living authentically means taking responsibility, not just for your actions, but for the meanings and values you create through those actions. You become the author of your own value system, the creator of your own purposes, the source of your own significance. Sartre's idea that you are condemned to be free isn't meant to depress you. It's meant to wake you up to your true power and responsibility. You've seen how this freedom is inescapable, how it demands radical responsibility, produces anxiety, tempts us into bad faith, and ultimately requires us to create our own meaning. These aren't abstract philosophical concepts, but practical truths about how you live every single day. The question isn't whether you're free. You are, always. The question is whether you'll live authentically, acknowledging your freedom, or hide from it in comfortable self-deceptions. Your life is your creation, your responsibility, your meaning. If you found value in this exploration, support Pulse of Awareness by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing for more philosophical wisdom that transforms how you understand yourself and your existence.